this time we will see if they respond with e5. They do. Now they will play knight c6, more than likely, and we will try to play the Italian with bishop c4. This is a very traditional opening, likely the most common opening at this level. Now what does this do? This doesn't explicitly attack anything, but it develops the bishop and it glances at a target. Now this is not a good move. You do not want to be playing the f-pawn when you play e5, because that creates a huge weakness along this diagonal. So I will immediately exploit this weakness by pushing the pawn here and creating a battery down there, which is something that they need to address. That is a reasonable move. And now this is a glaring threat that they must address. We will likely castle after if they move the knight away. We can also force the king to move. And now I can't just leave the bishop there, because then the knight could go attack my queen, and then my bishop would be hanging. So I will simply move forward so that I can meet this move with the grabbing of the bishop, trading the pieces off, and then I can jump in with the knight. I'm not afraid of this move because I can simply recapture with the bishop, and then I'm simply up a pawn. Okay, then move the pawn there to defend the bishop. That is quite a reasonable move. And I'm not seeing any particularly good move, so I will simply castle my king. Oh, now that knight move would be pretty strong, but I can always attack the knight. I should likely move the bishop out of the way. But if I move it that way, then it will get trapped. Okay, I see the knight move. That is a great move. Should I go here or there? I will simply go here. And now I will move my bishop out of danger if they don't grab it. If they do take it, then I can take the knight. I'm also considering other options. Okay, so they defend their knight. So the clear follow-up is to move the bishop here. That is also a good move. I was not looking at that. We will check the analysis later to see if forking the pieces is the best move. I was just concerned that if I were to do that, then they would take my bishop. Now I see that move and I don't see a threat. So I will continue with my plan, forking the pieces. And I don't see a logical way for them to defend against this. My bishop is safe, my queen is safe. So our next course of action is to grab one of those pieces and develop our bishop. This diagonal is open, but there's not much to look at. So I will instead play pawn d3, or I can develop the knight out here and get it into the game, which is also a valid course of action. Now this is a reasonable move, because they will follow it up by playing a6. That was actually a defense that I did not notice. If they play a6, then if I try to... Okay, that just loses. Because I just grab the knight, the queen's under attack, and then I will pick up the bishop. What I was thinking about is a6, and if I take the knight, then they recapture, and I'm still up a pawn in that case, but up a pawn is not as significant as being up a knight. And more than likely, I will also pick up that knight, pick up this bishop. There's a lot that is threatened. Now, where can this queen go? Here, here. There are 5 squares. None of them defend the knight. None of them save the bishop. Okay. Now the question here is whether to take the bishop or to take the knight. Both moves are fine, but I will pick up the knight. Actually, the knight wouldn't be able to go anywhere. But if I pick up the bishop, then the knight moves out, but then I pick up the rook, so I will grab the bishop. So that knight does not have any activity whatsoever. It can go back there, but then I would pick up the rook, so it would have to move the rook first. And at that point I can move my queen out, move the bishop back, and we are doing well. So the opponent is spending a lot of time thinking, but what I'm thinking about is getting the bishop here. Okay, so they did play that move. I don't want to go here because then there is a fork. So I can instead move the queen there. I only have these 2 options to get out of the rook's line of sight. I'm considering 3 moves. 1, 2, and 3. And 4. This move is fine. This move is fine. The other 2, this falls into the fork. This is something I don't want to trade. So I'm thinking about 2 options here. I'm in favor of the bishop move because when they take the pawn, I can go here and there is a strong battery along there. Now I'm also considering a move like d4. Now the opponent attacks my queen, which is a respectable move. So I will simply slide it out of the way, which is a move that I would have played anyway. Alternatively, I could trade like that, which isn't a huge loss. Here I would be met with knight a5, which is not something I'm a huge fan of. I could also go there, putting pressure on that knight. If I go there, then if they take my pawn, then I would be forced to take their pawn, which is fine. I will do that actually. I was simply considering that I would prefer if they took that to meet that with d4, but I believe this move is perfectly fine as well. We just need to get our other pieces into the game. We're up 7 points of material, which is fine, which is great, but we have lots of material not doing anything. Okay, now we're doing that and we're hitting the rook, and now we will be able to play d4. Now, I'm only seeing one way to defend the rook, and that is by sliding the queen back. Or move the rook. That is a valid move as well. Now I can attack the knight, strike in the center, and then my bishop can now develop somewhere. Getting the knight out is also important. I'm thinking knight d2 or knight a3 jumping into the game. I'm also considering a knight move there. Okay. I think what they're thinking is if I take the bishop, then they will capture back with the knight. But what if I just take the knight? Where is their response? What are they going to do? Now if I take the bishop, I will capture back. Or I could even no, I can't. I can't jump in there. Yeah, I'll capture back. They could push the pawn. That is a valid move. But I could also ignore that and attack the pawn. If they go there, I can ignore that and take the pawn. Or I can play rook e1, which is also a threat. So I'm thinking about a move like knight d4 to jump in there. I'm also thinking rook e1. I think knight d4 is a very strong move. Or I could play rook e1 first, that's the question. What do I play? Analysis probably will say that both moves are great. I think it's best if I get another piece in the game. So now they can't take the knight, and next move, I will jump the knight into the game. Now the queen will likely have to go there or there or there. Okay, that is a solid move as well. Now I will attack the queen, forcing the queen to move out of the way so that I can jump in with the knight. Jump in with the knight and go there or there. That is a nice spot as well. I could also lock the position like that, which is also a move. And here I will go there. Why? Because if I take the pawn, I will meet them with a check. I'm also considering, well, I'm forced to move the knight, so I think this is the best move. I could have played the position a little better, but this is okay. And I will simply get that other knight into the game, and that will be a clean win. Now, there isn't much counterplay potential for our opponent. This rook is stuck in the corner. My rook is also stuck in the corner. But, okay, that is a solid move. Okay, I will ignore that threat and attack the queen instead, and then I will jump in with my knight. The queen doesn't have many squares. There's one, there's two. The queen is actually starting to get trapped. The queen goes there, and now I will jump in further with the knight. I'm considering grabbing the pawn. I'm also considering giving a check. Now the check would bring the king further into the corner, which might not be something we want to do. So I will grab the pawn, and there are likely some tactics. My bishop is hanging. That's true. Okay, the opponent is running out of time. Queen there. Now, I don't think that was the right idea. I don't want to drop back with the knight because my bishop is getting taken. I'm considering a move like Queen e7. Also, Rook up is a solid move as well. Queen e7, that would invite this. And then I would take that. They would take that, and then I'm liking this. Queen b7. There's also Rook takes e4, which is a solid move. Okay, that was a good move. I like that move. This pawn is pinned to the king. As such, it is not actually defending this pawn. The king runs. I will pick up this pawn. And I will attack the king. There's still a rook that I can pick up. Okay, and we won.